Hello, welcome to Latte Firm for a quick reaction video on Arsenal's 2-1 victory over Brentford on Saturday afternoon stroke evening. Welcome. If you're tuning in for the first time, please do subscribe to the channel. The content is going to come thick and fast for the remainder of this season. And get involved in the chat. Like the video. It's a massive help. If we can get to 500 likes, that would be amazing. Wow, what a day. What an ending. I'm loving doing these videos. 8 wins on the spin now in this calendar year in the league for Arsenal, and what a feeling of euphoria walking away from the Emirates Stadium tonight. As we said in the pre-match preview show on the Late Night Latte on the channel, all of us were confident. You know, we were all going into the Brentford game thinking, right, another 3 points. We're playing first this weekend. It's a chance for us to go top of the Premier League since December for the first time, ahead of that crunch game at the Anfield tomorrow. And in the end, we made hard work of it. It could have slipped away from us today. So I'm sat here tonight at 12:20 in the morning, Saturday night, just past midnight, counting my lucky stars that we got the win, we got the 3 points, and yeah, just relieved, really relieved. Let's bring up the slides as we normally do. So courtesy of Arsenal.com. King Kai seals the win. This was the team news going into the game. Now, we all knew that Aaron Ramsdale was going to play, David Raya being loan tied, if you will. And Rambo, I think today had, I guess, the perfect game to kind of sum up his strengths and weaknesses and maybe even his time at Arsenal. You know, he had that almighty low towards the end of the first half where he took that back pass from Gabriel and unfortunately just couldn't clear it away quick enough, dwindled with the ball at his feet, and Wissa closed in and got that deflected goal. And an awful way for him to potentially end his last ever game for Arsenal in front of the Emirates crowd. And then, of course, the second half, he's come out and he's gone from villain to hero with 2 magnificent saves and a good performance. Ben White playing right back. What a sensational bit of form that he's in. You know, ever since coming back from Dubai, Benny Brown, Benny Brown, as the chants were at Sheffield. Benjamin William White is fantastic. And he's back to his best, buccaneering up and down that right-hand side, overlapping runs over with Saka, crossing, pinpoint crosses, getting 2 assists today. A terrific performance from Ben White. Saliba and Gabriel, both fantastic. And Kivior, he's just so good at left back, and he makes me feel so safe. In fact, when Zinchenko came off the bench, he had 1 or 2 sort of hairy moments. And listen, Arteta, don't do anything crazy ahead of Etihad. Kivior's in a rich vein of form. He gives us defensive stability. Let's not rock the boat. Declan Rice, of course, with Jorginho and Odegaard in midfield. I wasn't expecting Jorginho to play today. I thought maybe he'd be wrapped up in cotton wool ahead of Tuesday's game against Porto, but played well again today. The quarterback that we really needed. The skipper Odegaard with Saka, Havertz, and Trossard playing out on the left because of Martinelli's deep cut. And listen, Tom Canton from the Gooner Talk was in the media zone after the game and he saw Gabby Martinelli on crutches. It is just a deep cut, but of course, crutches makes you kind of worry, maybe unnecessarily. Hopefully, it's just the maximum precaution you can have to keep the foot still, keep the leg still, and hopefully help him recover. The bench, obviously, Hein in goal, Cedric, Zinchenko, Partey, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Nketiah Jesus. A lot of strength coming through at the right time of the season. The game in the end, 2-1. You know, I said in the pre-match preview I thought we'd win handsomely today, but it wasn't meant to be. We won the game by 2-1, and that's the most important thing. Going into this weekend, going into the Porto game, and then a prolonged break ahead of the Etihad, the most important thing was getting the victory today, and the victory is what we got. We took the lead, of course, through Deckers, big Deckers. A lovely worked move from Arsenal in the first half. Ben White getting the cross across into the box, and Declan Rice rising and poking home and celebrating in front of the Arsenal faithful. 6 goals this season for Declan Rice. We said in the breakdown when we first signed him that, you know, if there was one thing that he could maybe add to his game, it was his offensive game. Defensively, fantastic. In midfield, an absolute warrior. But could he add those goals coming from midfield? And he scored 4 last season for West Ham and 6 already this season with a couple of months to go. What an influence Deckers has had on this Arsenal team. Phenomenal. Deserved his goal. And then, of course, we're going towards half time. Injury goes up, and you're thinking, right, 1-0. It's not been as swashbuckling and as fluid as we know that Arsenal have been in 2024. But let's go in 1-0 up, come out second half, and just come out blazing and try and get that second and third. Wasn't meant to be. A really innocent ball passed across from Gabriel. Aaron Ramsdale takes one touch, rolls it out, sort of lays it out to his right-hand side, and he sees Wissa set off. And Wissa's a very quick guy, and if Ramsdale's prepared, he knows that Wissa's got pace, and he just closed him. And it was like watching it in slow motion from the North Bank lower, and the ball just ricocheted into the back of the net. Rambo dropping to his knees, and you could tell that he just wanted the ground to sort of open up and swallow him up. And it was really sad. It was really gutting. And what I noticed, those of you who are in the ground, maybe you've seen it in different sort of camera angles, Jorginho and Gabriel both sprinted to Ramsdale as soon as the ball went in. They had a few words with him. They comforted him. And when we took the kickoff, the ball went straight to Ramsdale to get that first touch out of the system. And then, of course, the ref blew the whistle. So going in at 1-1, the dynamic completely changes. And, it was a little bit flat as the whistle was blown. But, make no mistake, the Arsenal faithful were right behind Rambo. Conceded that goal, 30 seconds of, what's happened? And then right up on our feet, chanting for Rambo. And that's the way it should have been. And Mikel Arteta spoke about that after the game. In the second half, just 10 minutes in, he is some way out from goal, and Ivan Toney takes a great effort, to be fair, and Rambo is just caught shuffling backwards, and he tips it wide, stroke over to make that save. Also saved from Collins deep in the second half, a header that could quite easily have gone in. And again, a really good save. And I guess, like I said at the start of this feature, it's kind of a reflection of maybe his time at this club. And if this was to be his last game for Arsenal in front of the Arsenal faithful, I'm really glad that it didn't end on him conceding a clanger. I'm glad that that happened and that he made two monumental saves in the second half, and he managed to get to celebrate in front of the away fans. And that kind of really epitomizes Aaron Ramsdale for me. And if it is to be his last game, I'm glad it went kind of like that. And I wish him well. I'm not ready to hate him as a Chelsea player or a Newcastle player or wherever he might end up. I've got a huge sentimental attachment to Rambo, but I think David Raya has shown why he's clear, and I'm comfortable with that. And that's just the way it is. The game went on. The minutes ticked by. 70, 75, 80, 85. It's just not happening for us. We weren't that fluid. I looked at the match stats. I thought to myself, right, 72, 73% possession. We've had 17 shots on goal, 10 corners, 6 shots on target. Didn't feel like that. It felt like a really stop-start game. I think Sam Dean of The Telegraph was saying that the game had been in for just 50 minutes. 50 minutes the game had been in play. The ball had been in play, sorry. So it's a really, really difficult game to build any sort of momentum. And they did the whole rotational fouling, rotational injuries, rotational time wasting. Goalkeeper was wasting time at every effort. And you know what? It was one of those games where we said in the post-match phone-in on X tonight, straight after the game, that, winning games 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 is fun. Of course it is. We want to win games like that in every week. But sometimes when you're chasing and knocking and going for that winner, going for the kill, and the game's going into the late stages and you nab one in the last couple of minutes or an injury time, it gives you a release that is so different to scoring a third or a fourth or a fifth or even a sixth, as we've done in recent weeks. Like the build-up and the hatred that you feel for the officials and for the opposition, and the release, the endorphins that just in that moment when Kai Rose, Ben White again, lovely 1-2 play from Ødegaard, White. White finally gets it, dinks it across, pinpoint, bullet header from Kai Havertz, like reminiscent of Thierry Henry against Manchester United those years ago at the Emirates. And he wheeled away to celebrate in front of the North Bank towards the corner flag. Declan Rice giving it the big sort of arms out. Ødegaard, Saliba, Gabriel running. Just what a finish. And listen, he could have, on another day, maybe have got his marching orders. There was a fall to the floor. I've watched it on Match of the Day, which is why this reaction video is so late. I'm not sure there's much contact there, and on another day, maybe he doesn't get away with that. He does jump up, his arms a little bit strong in the Brentford face, maybe away from home. That's more harshly penalised. But at the end of the day, he's on the pitch and he's played so fantastic. And just a final point on Kai, 4 goals now in 4 consecutive games from Kai, 2 assists as well in that space. I don't know what he is, whether he's a centre forward, a false 9, a number 10, number 8, I don't know, don't care. And his post-match interview with Jamie Redknapp on Sky Sports is quite telling. He's getting tired of being asked that question. I think the most wholesome thing about that interview is that he said that he just loves being on the pitch. He'll do whatever the gaffer asks him to do. And he's now finally showing his value. What a magnificent run of form from Kai. And the King has sealed it again today. And just final thoughts on the gaffer. I mean, 8 wins out of 8 this calendar year in the Premier League. That defeat, of course, in Porto, which we'll hopefully look to overturn this Tuesday. Things are going really well for Mikel. We knew that the margins are fine. There's no room for error. Going to the Etihad, irrespective of what happens at Anfield this weekend, it was so important that we picked up maximum points. And we've done it in fine style. More than 30 goals scored in 8 games. The best goal difference, the most goals scored, the least goals, fewest goals conceded in the Premier League. This is where you want to be. And we're now back at the top of the league for the first time since December. Hopefully, we are peaking just at the right time. I think that's pretty much all that I'm going to say. I'm exhausted. It's been a fantastic day. Always so wonderful when Arsenal win. Couple of shout outs. 5, 6 of you, loyal viewers, watchers, fans, whatever you want to call yourselves, stopped me today on the way into the stadium, at the stadium, bizarrely in the gents' toilets at halftime. Mozak, and after the game, had a really nice chat with a chap called Mitch who watches and tunes in and listens in, and I really appreciate all the wholesome words. I love making content for you guys. I'm sorry I'm not as slick as some of the other channels and as fast as some of the other channels. I try my best. The post-match phone-ins are phenomenal. They're such good fun. The latest one is now going to be released on Apple and Spotify in the early hours of the morning. These quick reaction videos are obviously fun. I try and cobble my thoughts together. And of course, the late night lattes, which are immense fun. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys sharing and chatting and engaging and liking. It's a massive help to the channel, and you're a massive credit to yourselves, because we're building a really good community here. Please do like the video before you go. It'd be immense to get to 500 likes in this video if we can. Look after yourselves. We'll be back with a late night latte on Sunday evening after the cracker at Anfield. Hopefully, feeling really positive about the way things are going. And it's Porto next in the Champions League. Bye for now.